Hey guys, welcome back to another one. In this video, we're just going to briefly cover object-oriented programming in Java. What I would encourage you to do is go ahead and code along with me. If you're still new to this, do not get caught up on the syntax or trying to memorize it right now. Just try to understand the concepts and the logic behind what's happening when it comes to object-oriented programming. Like I said, do not get caught up on the syntax. Just code along with me. That will come. All right. Let's jump right into it. The first thing we want to do when it comes to object-oriented programming is just have a brief understanding of a class. Here you can see I have a public class car. And when it comes to a class, you can think of a class as basically just like a blueprint. So it is the blueprint of the car, or you can even use dog if you like. It's a blueprint or template for creating the actual objects itself. So let me give you an example. So we have a class, we'll call this class dog, right? Well, what does a dog, we know about the dog. We can say the breed, the attributes, the color, and the age. And these are the attributes of dog. We can also say the dog barks, runs, and sits. And we'll get into that in a little bit more detail, but just understand right now that the attributes are basically the properties of the class, okay? So we would define the properties like for our car, make, model, and year of the car. We can also define, like I said, the behaviors, just like we did with the dog. We could say the dog is running, the dog is sitting, or the car started, or the car turned off, the same thing. So let's first start by, we'll use the class car instead of dog here, but you can use dog if you would like. String make, and we're gonna do string model, and we also need int year, okay? So these are the attributes of our car. So each object will have these same attributes. They'll have the make, the model, and the year, okay? Think of it like just kind of a drawing, and that's the best way I could put it, or the blueprint. Just keep that in your mind. If you're ever in a technical interview and they start asking about object-oriented, always come back to this example, and it'll make sense as we go on, as we code this. You can always refer back to this example, whether using dog or in car. Now that we have our actual class and the attributes of that class, the properties of the car, we can move on to something called here the constructor. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but just bear with me because I will explain it. So the constructor is basically the method that gets called when we create a new car. Okay, so let's break it down in easy terms here. So when we use the constructor, all we're saying is, hey, I'm creating a new car. I need to specify the make, the model, and the year of that new car. So that's all we're doing. So let's create our constructor, excuse me, string make, okay, string model, and remember int year, okay? Nothing too crazy going on here. Like I said, do not get hung up on this syntax. We're just gonna code through this and it'll make sense. This dot make, and I'll explain this as well, equals make. We're going to do this for each one. This dot model equals model. This equals year. Okay, so this, when we say this make, this model, this year, this is referring to the object's attribute. So this make, this model, and this year. That's all it's doing. It's referring to the objects, whether that's the make, the model, or the year. That's all we're doing. Like I said, easy terms, illustration. Hey, I'm creating a new car. Okay, I'm creating a new car. I need to specify this make, this model, and this year of this car. That's all we're doing. Okay, so we got our constructor down. Now let's move on to the object itself. Remember we talked about the object. We have our class car. These are the attributes of our car, right? This is the method that gets called when we create a new car. Now let's the object, the actual, we have the blueprint. Now let's make the actual car itself. And so how do we do that? And what does that even mean? So like I said, we have the blueprint. We're going to actually create the car from it. And we call that the object. If the class is a blueprint, the object is the actual car being built using that specific blueprint. And our blueprint is make, model, year. That's all it is. For example, I might want to make a car, Toyota Camry from the year 2020. That's my object based on the car class. Remember, those are the parameters in there. Make, model, and year. Okay, objects are the real world representation of the class. So let's do that. Let's create an object of the car class. So let's do this. Car, my car equals new car. And remember, what do I want my car? You can put anything you want in here, but I'm gonna say Toyota. Yeah, we'll go Toyota. And then we'll say, we'll make it a Camry. Camrys are good cars. Camry. And we'll make it a horrible year, 2020. Terrible year. And so what are we doing here when I'm creating the object of class car? This creates the specific car. That's all it does. Hey, this is my specific car I want created. This is the parameters. It's going to be a Toyota Camry made in 2020. Okay. And now all we have to do, erase some of my notes here. Okay. Now all we have to do, let's output to show what the car is. So let's say we're doing an output here. System out dot print line. Okay, we're gonna do car make, and we're gonna concatenate with my car dot make. And I'm not gonna want to type all this out over and over, so let's see if I can just do this really quick. So I'll have to do this. There we go. But if you're coding here, just make sure, I guess you could take that little shortcut. Okay, model, my car model. And what else do we have? Year. Yes. Year. Or if you're doing dog, you can do the same thing with the dog class. Okay. So here I created the car object called my car. I gave it specific values, Toyota Camry 2020, and the year. So when I print out these values, we'll see that the car by car is a Toyota Camry from the year 2020. That's all that's happening right now. In Java, this process of creating the actual object from our class, from our attributes, it has a specific word. And I always have trouble saying this, but I'll try. It's called instantiation. I don't know what it is about that word. I remember being in an interview and trying to say that, and it just was not coming out correctly. But anyways, you could think of it like, let's run this really quick as I'm explaining this. You could think of it as walking into a car dealership. The blueprint is already there, the class, blueprint class. But when you decide to buy that specific car, which is the Toyota Camry 2020, right? You have to pick out, hey, I want that make, that model, in that year of that car, which is creating the actual car object you're going to drive. So here we have our car. Down here we have a make, Toyota Camry, and that year is 2020. Now what about the actions of the car? This is where we talk about, as we said earlier, the methods. Okay, so this is where methods come into play. A method is like an action that the car can perform or the dog can do. As we said, a car can stop, start, dog can bark, can run. It's the same thing. I just kind of want you to think of methods as like little buttons, okay, that on your car's dashboard. One button might start the car, another one honk the horn. These are the actions that the car can perform. And methods are how we define those actions in our class. Very simple. So let's go back to our car class and let's create our method for starting that vehicle. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start the vehicle. So void, and we'll say start because that's what we're going to do. Okay. Let's see here. Make sure this is all correct. Okay, where do you go? Okay. Don't panic on me now, okay? Void. Okay, here we go. We are going to stop doing that. You got that one. Okay, why are you freaking out on me here? Oh, that's why. Duh. Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. I had it in the wrong spot. Okay, so we have void start. That's going to be our method. We're going to start the car. Now, what do we want? Like I said, we are wanting to print out print line. And what are we going to do? We're going to say we're going to make it start, right? So we're going to say we don't need that. We're going to say the make, our Toyota. We're going to concatenate. There, create a space. Plus our model, Toyota Camry, plus little space so it doesn't bunch up, is starting. And why did you do that? I don't know why you did that, but we'll correct you. Okay. Done. Now we've created our method. So we called it start from the car class here. This method simply prints out the message saying that the car is starting. That's all it does. There's nothing more to it. There's nothing more complicated than that. Okay, so we created the method. I lost my place for a second where I was at. I'm coming back. I was distracted. Now we need to actually call the method on the object. Okay, so make Toyota Camry is starting. So now that we've added start method, let's go ahead and call this method on the car object we created earlier. Okay, so go back to our main. Like I said, we're just going to call this method. This will simulate the car starting, and it'll print a message to let us know that it's actually happening. So let's do that. We have car object, and let's just say, let's call our method my car dot start. And this is going to output that the car is starting. So let's see what happened here. There you go. Toyota Camry is starting. So in the main method, we created Toyota Camry object, right? Toyota Camry, that's our object for our car class. Once we created it, then we called it, and it prints the message Toyota Camry is starting. Calling this method is like how we make objects in Java perform actions. That's what we're saying. Perform this action. It's like sitting in your car and basically pressing the start button or turning the key and the engine turns on, except it's happening through code. So just a quick recap, guys. A class is a blueprint that defines, remember, the properties and behaviors of an object. Think of it like the design plans for the car itself. And we have our object right here. We created an object. And this is an instance of the class, of the car class. Like the actual car you drive off the lot. It has real values like it's a Toyota, it's a Camry, and it's year 2020. And then we have our attributes, which is the make, model, and year of the car. They're like the specific features that this class car has, okay? And then we have our method for starting the car. Methods are just verbs. They're actions that the car can perform or that the object can perform. It's like you could start the car, you can stop it, or you can accelerate. So basically, by creating objects and calling them and calling methods on them, what are we doing? We can just simulate real world actions and behaviors in the programs themselves. This is the foundation of object-oriented programming in Java. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. If you did find it helpful, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. If you want more of these, just let me know in the comments below. I appreciate you guys stopping to watch this video, and I really do hope it was helpful to someone out there. Take care.